Hello, everyone. Welcome to our second part to our Beyond Athletics workshop. Today, our presentation is about mindfulness and positive psychology. My name is Katie, and I'm a professional clinical counselor intern. And with me, I have my colleague, Diana.
Hi, everyone. My name is Diana, and I am an APCC. That's an Associate Professional Clinical Counselor, and I will be joining Katie as we continue to cover different topics for this collaboration.
Yeah. So we'll go ahead and get into our community guidelines. So the first one is students first. We brought this presentation to y'all because we found that it was a need in this population. We thought it was something that would be extremely beneficial to y'all. So that being said, the students do come first. We want to just make sure that your best interest is at heart and we're doing our best to serve you as students. So just wanted to make that very clear that this workshop is emphasizing that the students come first. The second part, call in versus call out. So essentially this can come into play. Let's say you hear something that someone else says that may differ from what you may be thinking or feeling. So you can call them in and say something like, let me better understand your side to gain insight, as opposed to, let's say, calling them out in maybe a more aggressive way. So we just want to emphasize calling it in, maybe approaching questions or concerns from a position of just wanting to better understand or getting better insight, as opposed to just wanting to call out people if that does come up. Another one of our community guidelines is confidentiality. We just want to make sure that we ask you if anything that's shared in this workshop stays here. We just want to respect everyone's privacy. This can be a vulnerable situation where people may disclose things that they would not be comfortable with everybody else knowing. So we just like to ask that you keep the information that's shared with here within this workshop, and please not share other people's information, as I'm sure you would appreciate this guideline as well for yourself. And then the last community guideline is just I statements, basically just speaking from your perspective. For example, I feel this or I think this, as opposed to maybe speaking for other people, just because, you never really know what other people have going on. So it's just better to speak from yourself and kind of just stay in tune with that, as opposed to speaking for other people. And also can allow other people just to speak for themselves, or maybe they may not want to, and that's totally fine. Just everybody having an opportunity to speak for themselves is another part of our community guidelines. So that's what we have. And we wanted to just take a pause and ask if there's anything else y'all would like to add to make you feel more comfortable. But if not, we can go ahead and get to our overview for today. So the plan for today is to do a little bit of psychoeducation, making sure that we talk about what mindfulness is, what positive psychology is, and kind of like the benefits, why we're even coming to you with this presentation, what we feel is necessary for y'all to know. Another part is techniques. So just talking about the meditation, gratitude journaling, just different skills and techniques that you can use to be able to practice the mindfulness and positive psychology that we'll go over. After we review some techniques and some skills, we'll go into an activity, which is the kindness loving meditation. And then after that, we'll go into discussion, just asking some questions about your thoughts, your comments regarding the activity, your mood afterwards, if anything changed, if you learned anything, what you liked, what you didn't like. So just open discussion with all of us. And then lastly, we'll go into some resources, just going into who we are and how we can best serve you outside of these workshops.
Mm-hmm. So thank you so much for that, Katie. Before we get started, we just want to know what comes up when you hear positive psychology and mindfulness. So these are two things, right? So positive psychology, mindfulness. So we would like to ask you all to just take a moment, maybe pause the video and write out 3 words or a phrase in the chat. And so if you could just do that very briefly, we would really appreciate it. And now, after we've heard some of the different things that mindfulness and positive psychology is for you, we want to cover how it is viewed psychologically. So first, mindfulness is really the practice of bringing attention to the present moment, about increasing your awareness of what's happening for you in your mind. So what thoughts are coming up? What's happening for you in your emotions? What feelings are present in your body? So how is your body reacting in this specific moment? And we really want to do this without judgment. So we really just want to focus on kind of gauging with ourselves, how am I? And not really trying to change it, just being there with it. And in order for us to practice mindfulness, there's two components that have to be kept in mind. And the first one is awareness. So, awareness is essentially being able to acknowledge your thoughts, emotions, and body in the present moment. So, it's really about just tuning in with yourself and asking yourself, how do I feel in this moment? What am I thinking? How is my body reacting? And we want to do this without necessarily, overwhelming ourselves and trying to cover every single basis of everything. Just kind of being there in that moment. And then another component is acceptance. So being able to be okay with what's coming up in the present moment. So not necessarily focusing on how am I going to change this? How can I, make this feel different? It's really just about saying, okay, this is how I feel right now. This is what my body's thinking. And these are the thoughts that are coming up. So these two are core components of practicing mindfulness. And so next, I'm going to go ahead and jump over to ask you two questions about mindfulness. The first is, how do you think mindfulness is practiced? And the second question is, how can you incorporate mindfulness as an athlete? So I really want to ask you to take a moment and pause this video and write out, different ways you think mindfulness can be incorporated as an athlete, and that it can just be practiced in general, right? So if you could just do that, then we'll review right after. Okay, so thank you so much for everyone that participated and wrote in the chat and shared. Now I'm going to have Katie talk about some of the benefits of mindfulness.
So we know some of you guys may be thinking, what is this all about? Why do I need this? How could this be relevant in our sport whatsoever? But we thought that mindfulness would be a really good addition to you, and here are some of the reasons why. So mindfulness improves your ability to regulate emotions. Throughout athletics, I'm sure that you guys have felt a whole range of emotions, whether that's happy emotions, maybe not so happy emotions, but it is a tool to just help us regulate those and make it a bit more manageable, as opposed to extremely overwhelming feelings. Maybe you feel that you can't even control your emotions, whether they're too good or too bad. So this is just a practice that helps improves your ability to be able to regulate those emotions, whatever they may be. Mindfulness also helps decrease symptoms of sadness and anxiety. This isn't something that's just specific to student athletes. Anybody can use this skill, but we also thought that this would be something that would be relevant for y'all, in case you could be going through things, whether that's related to your sport or not. It's always a benefit to be able to have the skill to help decrease symptoms of sadness and anxiety. So let's say you have a game or a race or whatever your sport may be, you have that coming up and you're feeling super anxious and you may feel like overwhelmed, you don't necessarily know what to do. Mindfulness could be something to be able to help you regulate the symptoms of anxiety, for example. Mindfulness also helps improve your cognitive skills, for example, memory, focus, processing speed. This is also something that we thought could be super helpful for y'all, just because in your sport, I feel like you have a lot going on. Sometimes it's super easy just to go through the motions and not necessarily think about what's happening to you or what you're doing. You're just trying to maybe get through it at times. So mindfulness can also help you improve those cognitive skills to be able to make you more aware and improve the skills that you may need during your sport. Another benefit is that it increases self-care along with feelings of relaxation and peace. I'm sure we all could use more self-care, right? It's something that has become a bit more well-known, a bit more popular recently, and people are starting to understand the importance of it. So we just wanted to highlight that more here. Self-care is something that we feel, especially student athletes, I feel like you're not really taught to implement self-care in your routine, because why practice self-care when you can be getting in more time and practicing your sport, right? But it sometimes is beneficial maybe do something different, or maybe if your self-care is your sport, to be able to do that a bit more. So through practicing mindfulness, it increases self-care along with the feelings of relaxation and peace, which I'm sure we can all need in your stressful, busy lives. Another benefit to mindfulness is increasing your ability to cope with stressful situations or environments. I feel like student athletes and stress are synonymous, as some of you guys may agree with. So the fact that it's something that is so common and so normalized for your sport and kind of like your lifestyle and your identity, mindfulness is a way to kind of break that up a little bit more, and help you cope with the stressful situations, environments that you may be in. Maybe some of you could think that, man, I just thought this was stressful, and that's kind of how it had to be. I know that was one of my thoughts when I was a student athlete. It was kind of like, well, if I was a student athlete, then I should be stressed. Like that's just kind of what's part of it. But mindfulness just helps you understand that, even though stress is a part of life, especially part of athletics, there are ways to cope with it, healthy ways to cope with it. So this is just another practice that can be able to help you with that. And lastly, another benefit to mindfulness that allows for self-exploration. A lot of us are identify as student athletes, and a lot of us maybe identify with other things. Maybe you may not know what you identify with. So mindfulness just kind of gives you the time and the space to be able to understand yourself a little bit better, to kind of just have designated points for you to just explore yourself. What do I like? What do I not like? And it kind of just gives you the chance to just have a better understanding of who you are, and maybe add a bit to your self-confidence in knowing who you are, and kind of like the different facets to who we are as individuals. So these are some of the benefits of mindfulness. So it shows that it can be very applicable to your life, whether you fully identify with being a student athlete or maybe it's just a small part of your identity. It's something that can help everybody from whatever range or extreme you're at, to be able just to implement these super crucial skills and practices in your day-to-day life. So these are some of the benefits to mindfulness. And then we'll also go into positive psychology. So maybe when you saw the term positive psychology, you may think, oh, I just have to be positive all the time. So this is just an explanation of what positive psychology is. So it's a concept that invites you to focus on your strengths and help you cope and solve a current problem. So positive psychology is positive in the idea that it helps you focus on your strengths that you have. And it's also positive in that it gives you the skills to be able to cope and solve with a current problem. So asking questions like what works, what's right, how can we nurture it? These are some of the factors of positive psychology that are involved in that. So it focuses on positive behaviors, and as well as your values, your character strengths, and just meaning. So these are kind of just different facets that kind of gives you the understanding of what positive psychology is. So it's definitely not dismissing negative emotions or thoughts, right? It's very easy to see positive psychology and you're like, oh, that's just like, I just have to be more positive. But in reality, that may not be the answer 100% of the time. And we know, obviously, going through life, you're going to experience negative things, but this is just a way to understand how to maybe think about them differently, or to add a different perspective, to add different insight, different ideas that could help you through those negative thoughts and emotions, as opposed to just completely dismissing them. So just not to be confused, I think sometimes the term positive psychology can be a little misleading to those who don't necessarily know much about it. But it's definitely not us saying, if you practice positive psychology, you'll never have any negative thoughts or emotions again. It's just more so the concept that has you focus on the strengths that you do have at hand and how to utilize those, as well as solve or cope with the current problems that you may have, through positive behaviors, through values, through character strengths, and through meaning. So we can go ahead and go into naming 3 possible benefits to positive psychology. So if you'd like to pause the video here, take a second to reflect and come up with 3 possible benefits to positive psychology. And as a reminder, that's just focusing on your strengths to help you solve a current problem or cope with the current problem that you may have, by focusing on positive behaviors, values, character strengths. So just thinking of 3 possible benefits to positive psychology. So we'll take a second to think about that. And after you've thought about it, here are some examples. So some possible benefits may be help boosting your social and emotional well-being. Some may include help decreasing feelings of distress or anxiety, maybe increasing satisfaction and motivation, fostering healthy relationships, or even just increasing meaning and engagement. So those are some possible benefits to positive psychology. You may have some that are the same, some are different, but all are definitely valid reasons to think about benefits of having positive psychology.
Thank you so much for that, Katie. So now we're going to talk about some of the ways to practice positive psychology. Now that we've talked about the benefits, how can we engage in it, right? So one of the main things that we have here is practicing gratitude. So, setting aside time to write down, maybe, in a journal, some of the things that you feel grateful for, some of the things that you feel are going in a good way in your life. And then also completing activities that lead to flow. So, flow is essentially this process that occurs when you're creating art, when you're completing a sport, when you're doing something that you really enjoy. Um, and the focus of flow is really centering yourself and being in that space that helps you be positive, be mindful. And so, kind of engaging in those activities, right? How to get yourself to feel that relaxation, to feel that calmness, and to be present. And then doing a kindness meditation. There's a lot of different meditations. You can even do a gratitude meditation, but just kind of giving yourself the space to think about, what are some of the good things that are happening right now without dismissing the things that maybe aren't so positive in the moment, but just giving yourself permission to see both. And then write out or say positive affirmations. So, kind of doing some of that dialogue with yourself as well, right? So, whether it's in the morning, telling yourself some of those things like, I'm strong, I'm capable, I'm talented, things like that, right? Or maybe before engaging in some of those activities that you enjoy, like maybe before you go and have a meet, right? Kind of saying those things towards yourself and maybe those around you. So, these are some ways to practice. Um, and now we would like to jump into the activity. So we're hoping that maybe we can try out one of the things that we've listed, right? And see if we can incorporate both. So, how can we incorporate being mindful, being present, and focusing on those strengths? So, the activity that we brought for you all is a kindness meditation, which is a combination of both. We're going to focus on the good things, the strengths, what's present in the moment. So I'm going to go ahead and ask all of you that if you feel comfortable, you can turn off your cameras, you can close your eyes and just relax. Again, we invite you to do this activity with us. If you don't feel comfortable, that's also completely fine. You can just opt out and be present as we do it. So I'm going to go ahead and get us started. And I do have the script with me, so I'll be guiding myself through it. But again, feel free to turn off your cameras and relax for this. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. To begin this practice, let yourself be in a relaxed and comfortable position. We're going to do the practice of cultivating positive emotion. In this case, loving kindness, which is a desire for someone to be happy or yourself to be happy. It's not dependent on something, it's not conditional, it's just a natural opening of the heart to someone else or to yourself. So you can check into your body and notice how you're feeling right now. Letting whatever is there be there. Now let yourself bring to mind someone or a moment that makes you feel happy. I want you to think of them or that moment. It could be a relative, a close friend, someone who you don't have a complicated relationship with. Just a general sense that when you think of them, you feel happy. Remember, you can always choose a pet, a dog or a cat as well. A creature that is fairly easy to feel love for. So let them come to your mind. Have a sense of them being in front of you. You can feel them, you can sense them, you can see them. And as you imagine them, notice how you're feeling inside. Maybe you feel some warmth, or there's some heat to your face, a smile, a sense of expansiveness. This is a loving kindness. This is a natural feeling that is accessible to all of us at any moment. So now, having this loved one in front of you, begin to wish them well. May you be safe and protected from danger. May you be happy and peaceful. May you be healthy and strong. May you have the ease and well-being. And as I say these words, you can use my words or your own words. And have a sense of letting this love and kindness come from you. And begin to reach out to this loved one. You may think in images. You might have a sense of color or light. You may just have a feeling. The words may continue to bring on more of this feeling. And I encourage you to say whatever feels meaningful to you. May you be free from stress and anxiety. May you be free from all fear. And as you're doing this, send out these words to this loved one. Also check in with yourself and see how you're feeling inside. And now imagine that this loved one turns around and begins to send it back to you. So see if you can receive the loving kindness, take it in, and they're wishing you well. May you be happy. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be safe and protected from all danger. May you have joy, well-being, letting yourself take it in. Now, if you're not feeling anything at this point or before the meditation, it's not a problem at all. This is a practice that plants seeds. And if you're feeling something else other than loving and kindness, just check in with that. What is it that I'm feeling? There may be something to learn here. So now, if it's possible, and it's not always easy, but try to send loving kindness to yourself. You can imagine it coming down from your body, from your heart. You can just have a sense of it. May I be safe and protected from danger. May I be healthy and strong. May I be happy and peaceful. May I accept myself just as I am. And before we close this meditation, I want you to go ahead and sit in this moment for a little bit. And then we're going to go ahead and exit out by taking a deep breath in at the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Deep breath in. And we release. And before you open your eyes, I just want you to go ahead and take in all this loving kindness with you. Okay, when you're ready, you can open your eyes and return. Thank you so much for everyone that participated. And now we just want to go ahead and talk a little bit about how you felt after doing this.
So we just wanted to ask to discuss your mood after meditation. Maybe take a second to reflect on how you're feeling now and how you felt before the meditation. If any thoughts came up for you, just how that experience was for you in general. I know I can speak from personal experience, which I feel like is very common. People think that meditation is you just sitting in an empty room and you can't have any thoughts and you just focus on your breathing for hours. But meditation can show forms in different ways. Having thoughts during meditation is totally fine. So it's just a practice that kind of guides you into maybe thinking about certain things and just like calming yourself internally. So I'm sure that may resonate with people thinking that experience is different than like typical meditation that you may hear about. So yeah, we'd like to hear from you if either that resonated with you or if you had any other thoughts or feelings during that time.
Yeah,
Thanks for that, Diana.
definitely. So you can pause the video, write it up in the chat, or discuss amongst each other. So now that you've discussed, we want to ask if you have any questions or comments. Again, feel free to pause the video, discuss, write it up in the chat. So now that you've taken the time to do that, I want to go ahead and talk about upcoming workshops. So what do we have going on? So we do have 2 workshops that are going to be coming up, and that's the Improving Our Relationship with Food workshop, happening October 28th. And then we're also having Validate, Appreciate, Refer training, provided by Active Minds. It's going to be December 2nd. And then I'm going to have Katie go ahead and talk about some resources.
So we just wanted to highlight a few resources if anything was coming up for you during this workshop, or maybe before this workshop, or if you see maybe the topics of the ones that we have coming. If you just have any more questions or just want to look into things more, we have some resources for you. So first, you can find us at the Student Health Center, where you can access the mental health services via telehealth. So with more information regarding availability or to make an appointment, you can visit our website that's on there. Or you can email us at citymhcc@sdccd.edu. So either way is a good way to contact us. Let's say you can just take a screenshot of this resource page, or let's say you forget, you can go ahead and if you look on Google, San Diego City College Mental Health Center, you can definitely find us there. We also wanted to highlight the Access Crisis Line. So it's a phone and text line offered by San Diego County that can be used 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So if you have a crisis or if you're needing support and looking for resources, you can access by calling 888-724-7240, or you can text the word courage to 741-741. And these resources, if you do call or text, it won't show up on your phone bill, so it's completely confidential. Let's say your parents or somebody else pays your phone bill and you don't want them to ask questions about the number that's on your bill, that's definitely not going to be a problem, because these lines don't show up on your phone bill. So there's confidentiality there. We also have the Shine app. So we offer memberships to the Shine app, which is an app that offers diverse mindfulness activities. So if this is something you like, or maybe you want to look into more, you can reach out to us via email so we can assist you in getting a membership to this app. Same email that I listed before. And lastly, there's the Mindfulness UCLA Institute, which is just a great website that you can use to access different meditation transcripts or breathing exercises, and honestly, a lot more than that as well. So like I said before with the Shine app, if this is something that you're interested in or want to learn more about, you can go to this website, uclahealth.org /MARC/mindful-meditations. So like we said before, feel free to take a screenshot or to write this information down, maybe pause, write it down, because we would love for you to utilize these resources if necessary at any point.
Mm-hmm. And then very briefly, I just wanted to go back. These are the dates for upcoming workshops once again, and you can also take a screenshot of these and just save them for yourself. 10/20 Improving Our Relationships with Food, 12/2 Validate and Appreciate Refer training. Okay. And that essentially concludes our presentation. So we thank you for joining us, and we hope to see you next time.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.